Welcome to my channel. Today, I want to talk about extending or shortening the time for subtitle files. My audio production process involves creating voice files and subtitle files by running a text script through a text-to-speech (TTS) function. The problem is that during video editing, I often need extra silent time to display visuals, like showing a step-by-step process. If I were narrating a live action process, the timing between my voice and the action would sync up easily. But when I use a pre-written script, like I do, the screen visuals and the audio timing often don't match up. Anyone who has edited subtitle files knows how painful it is to add a new paragraph in the middle, after the file is complete. Every line after that insertion point needs its timecode adjusted. Shortening the time is slightly easier, but the time differences accumulate, and eventually, manually shifting the subtitles becomes a huge chore. The biggest issue is having to move a massive block of subsequent subtitles. For me, as an editor using generated audio, I have an additional problem. The TTS sometimes reads out unwanted punctuation or symbols. I really don't want to go back to the TTS tool and rerun the entire script. Even after 6 or 7 attempts, I might still miss a symbol that gets read out, or I might want the symbols to remain in the subtitle file but not be read aloud. So, I always review and confirm the audio first using an audio editor. I've mentioned before that I really like Audacity. It used to be essential when I did my own recordings because my speaking speed and pauses were inconsistent, and my voice quality would quickly degrade. Audacity's features saved me a lot of time. Otherwise, a simple recording could take 5 times longer. This is actually the main reason I use generated audio. My vocal cords are too weak. If you listen to my past audio, you might notice some sentences have strange intonation because of those unwanted symbols. Once I cut those out, the tone doesn't match the following sentence. All this cutting causes a lot of necessary shifting in the subtitle file. And not just a single shift. After the first 10 sentences are done, the difference between the audio and subtitle time can become significant. Even if the rest of the subtitles are correct, I still have to manually and laboriously move them to the right time slot. Moving every line is unbearable. Fortunately, I can use a program to shift all the subsequent subtitles at once. But even then, after checking sentence by sentence, a long time difference always reappears. That's why I designed this subtitle time change function and had anti-gravity create it using Python. My initial idea for extending time was straightforward. Specify the location where the shift needs to happen. Specify how much time to extend the audio by. This approach is quite intuitive and has worked well in practice. Shortening the time was more complex. To maintain consistent input, I wanted to specify the time to be shifted. However, calculating the exact time to shorten is tedious. So I chose to specify 2 time points instead. The action: move the sentence at the second time point to the first time point, deleting everything in between. The problem: the first time point could be in a blank space or in the middle of a sentence. If it lands in the middle of a sentence, that whole sentence should be deleted. The second time point specifies the sentence to be moved. If it lands in the middle of a sentence, the second time should be changed to the start time of that sentence. If it lands in a blank space, the second time should be changed to the start time of the next sentence. This setup had inconsistent logic for determining the action based on the 2 time points, and anti-gravity had trouble understanding it. It took some testing for me to figure out the issue. In the end, for shortening time, because there was a long gap between the first and second time, simply moving the next sentence forward was always successful. I realized anti-gravity was just moving the sentence after the specified time forward. regardless of where that next sentence actually was. That's why the final tool didn't need me to specify a second time point. Once I resolved that minor misunderstanding, the tool became quite convenient. Why the tool isn't perfect? Actually, it's not that convenient. When I remove the reading of symbols, the change in the voice segment length is quite small. If I let these differences accumulate until a large adjustment is needed, using the short time tool will often delete sentences that are needed but simply mistimed. For example, if a word has both an opening and closing bracket that are read out. While it's quick to delete both readings in the audio editor, every single symbol removal requires a time adjustment for the subsequent subtitle text. Deleting double brackets would mean running the subtitle shortening function twice. It might even be faster to manually input the subtitle time based on the audio position. I don't like recreating tools others have already perfected, but their existing tools don't meet my specific need. I only want to edit the subtitles for the audio, not for a completed video. My audio is still a draft and requires many adjustments. In the past, whenever audio correction or video editing caused a gap between the voice and subtitles, the only solution was to manually re-edit the subtitles. My life philosophy is to automate whatever I can to save effort. With these small subtitle tools, I won't have to stay up late cutting and pasting the subtitle file until I fall asleep. What's next? This current tool is great for handling large time differences. However, as I mentioned, many edits are for tiny time differences. Existing subtitle programs handle these small adjustments well. But because I'm in the TTS audio check process, I don't have a video for those existing subtitle programs to assist my work. Next, I'll need to develop a graphical user interface, GUI tool for fine-tuning subtitles. I'll talk about that in the next segment. That's all for this video. Bye.